All right, the similarities and differences between net and template. Both are two-dimensional layouts of a prism. Template has tabs, net does not. Number 2, you are not going to have to do any conversions on the exam. We used to do conversions in the boxing unit a few years ago, and we just haven't changed the review over. So everything's going to be in the same units. Remember, when you're finding surface area, you need to find the area of each of the surfaces and add them all together. So 5 decimeters is equivalent to 50 centimeters. 0.25 meters is 25 centimeters. So you have 2 surfaces that are 170 by 50, 2 that are 50 by 25, and 2 that are 25 by 170. Gives you a total of 28,000 centimeters squared. Questions on that? All right, 3A, your rectangular prism can look something like that. Your cylinder and your triangular prism. Number 4, lateral faces. Remember, lateral faces are around. They're the rectangles. You have 2 faces that are hexagons, and the others are lateral faces, and there's 6 of them. Number 5, pentagonal prism. The pentagons are the bases, and the rectangles are the lateral faces. Number 6, given a decagonal prism, how many edges does it have? So you have edges on either end, and then you have edges where the faces are. So there's 3 sets of edges times the number of sides of the shape that you have. So a decagon has 10 sides. So there's 10 times 3, which is 30. Cylinder is not a prism. Maggie, your definition of a polygon?
A plane figure with at least 3 straight sides and angles into 3 5.
Thank you. Number 9, you have the square. Square is length times width, or the side length squared, so it's 9 times 9. The rectangle on B. If you converted it to centimeters, then it's 500,000 centimeters squared. If you put it to meters, it's 50 meters squared. Triangle, 1/2 base times the height. If you have it in meters, it's 3 million meters squared. If you put it in kilometers, it's 3 kilometers squared. Parallelogram, 12 times 2. It's just base times height, because if you were to take this triangle and put it on the side here, it gives you a rectangle. So it's 12 times 2. Pentagon. Remember, shapes like the pentagon, you can break them up into triangles. There's 5 triangles in the pentagon. So you have to find the area of the triangle and then multiply it by the number of sides that there are. So that would be 105 millimeters squared. Trapezoid, 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height gives you 7 centimeters squared. Questions on any of those? All right.
Why did that's the best part?
Because I just wanted them to be all shut for tomorrow. Number 10, you have a pentagonal prism. You need to find the area of the 2 pentagons and then 5 rectangles. So the pentagons are 1/2 times 5 times 3 times 5. There's 2 of those for a total area of 75. And then the rectangles are 10 by 5, and there's 5 of those for an area of 250 for a total of 325 centimeters squared. 10B, you have 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. The triangles have a base of 5.1, height of 8. So 1/2, 5.1 times 8, there's 2 of them. The 3 rectangles have different dimensions. So on the bottom, you have 5.1 by 9.5 this flat one out front here, 9.5 times 11, and then the one on the back, 8 times 9.5. Total surface area, 269.75 centimeters squared. Questions on those? All right, 11A, tessellating the triangle, the hexagon. Octagon does not tessellate. Remember, it's the triangle, square, and hexagon that tessellate. Octagon cannot. Number 12, exterior angle, 360 divided by the number of sides. So for the triangle, it's 120, pentagon 72, hexagon 60, and the octagon 45. Interior angle is 180 minus the exterior angle. So for the triangle, it's 60, pentagon 108, hexagon 120, and octagon 135. Sum of the interior angles. Take the measure of the one interior angle and multiply it by the number of sides. So you have 60 times 3, which is 180, 108 times 5, which is 540, 120 times 6, which is 720, and 135 times 8, which is 1080. This was the try 1 and try 2, where you're taking the length and width of the big piece of cardboard and dividing it by the length and the width of the smaller templates. So we have 400 divided by 23, 80 divided by 30. Take the whole pieces that we can cut out and then multiply them together. Now we're going to rearrange how we're laying the template out, so that's why you're dividing it, flip-flopping it by what you're dividing it by. So 400 divided by 30 this time, and 80 divided by 23. Take your whole parts, multiply, and you would get 30. That's the maximum number of templates you can cut out from this. Central angle. 360 divided by the number of sides gives you 45. 15, the number of sides of a polygon given the central angle. So we take 360 and divide it by 60 degrees, and that gives us 6 sides. 16, you have 9 green marbles out of 15, so that gives you 3/5. Whatever fraction you come up with, you need to make sure that it's in simplest form, because that will be among your options on your
It's always
multiple
going to be in
choice.
simplest form on the options,
Yep, always going to be in simplest form.
but it's going to have both on there? Like,
No,
It's always, alright, okay.
it's always
I
in
get what
simplest form. 17, you have orange or yellow, so you have 3 orange and 7 yellow. That gives you 10 out of the 30, which is 1/3. 18, what's the experimental probability of obtaining heads when the data collected shows 63 tails tossed and 100 flips? So that means that there were 37 heads out of 100. 19, theoretical probability of obtaining a head or a tail. Well, head or tail is 2 out of the 2. 20, after analyzing current records, customer records, a dental office found that approximately 9% of its patients get at least 2 cavities over a 3-year span. What's the probability that a patient chosen at random was found to have no cavities? So that would be 91. 21, sample space for tossing 3 fair dimes. So tree diagram. First branch is indicating the first flip, second branch indicating the second flip. I'm sorry, second coin. And the third set of branches is the third coin. So your total possible outcomes: heads, 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 tails, heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, 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 heads, heads, tails, heads, tails, 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 heads, and tails, tails, tails. questions on that one? All right. Theoretical probability of rolling a sum of 7 on 2 fair dice. So when you have 2 dice, the first die gives you options 1 through 6. Second die gives you options 1 through 6. So you have a total of 36 in your sample space. The ways that you can get a 7, 1 and 6, 2 and 5, 3 and 4, 4 and 3, 5 and 2, 6 and 1. So it occurs 6 out of the 36 possible outcomes, which reduces to 1/6. 23, theoretical probability of drawing a 3 from a deck of playing cards. There's 4 3s in the deck, and there's 52 cards in the deck. So 4 out of 52 gives you 1 out of 13. 24, size of the sample space for drawing 5 numbers from a set of 25. You have 2 ways that you can find this. Easiest way, look on your sample space template. You have 25 numbers and you want to draw 5 numbers at a time, so that would be quintuples. So you're looking at 53,130. The other way that you can do it is on your calculator. So you have 25 items that you're drawing from. Hit your math key. You're arrowing over to probability. And we want the number of combinations. So that's 3. And we're choosing 5 at a time. So you type in 5. Hit enter. Gives you the same number that you get on your sample space template, 53,000.
Will there be any on the test that we're going to have to use the calculator and not the?
No.
We'll all be able to use the sheet?
Sample space template, yep.
Okay.
All right? So you don't have to remember how to do it on the calculator. All right. 25. What is the theoretical probability of landing in the circle if guaranteed to land in the square? So that means you need the area of the circle and you need the area of the square. Bless you. So the radius of the circle is 3.5. If the radius is 3.5, what's the diameter? 7. And the diameter is the same as the length of the square. So that's how you find the area of the square, 7 by 7. Area of the circle, pi r squared. So you have 38.48 over 49, which is 0.785 or 78.5%. $26. The difference between experimental and theoretical probability. Theoretical is what should happen, and experimental is what actually happens after you finish the experiment. 27. The likelihood of getting an odd number and a red color given the following spinners. So odd numbers, 1, 3, and 5, so they occur 3 out of 6 times. Red color occurs once out of the 4, so 3 6 times 1/4 gives you 3 24ths or 1/8. Sample space for flipping 2 coins, heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, tails, tails. 29, expected value. Expected value is found by taking the prize and multiplying it by the probability. Take the prize here, multiply it by this probability, and take the last prize, multiply it by this last probability. Find these products, add them together. You have to add each of the products, and that gives you the expected value. So, the cost of this game was $1. Your expected value is 87 cents. It's not a fair game because your cost is not equal to your expected value. What would the price of the ticket need to be in order for the lottery to be a fair game? It has to be 87 cents. The cost to play has to equal the expected value in order for it to be a fair game.
Wait, hold on. No, John.
Questions? All right, 31. This one was way off the chart. You're looking for the point of intersection, so you're drawing one line and then drawing the other, and they did not intersect until way out here at -7 and -23. The problem that you'll have on the test will be easy to be found on your graph paper. 32. A, x equals 9. Yes, sorry, -9. B, divide both sides by -9, x equals 10. C, subtract 8 from both sides, divide by -2, x equals 10. D, distribute. So you have 2x minus 6 equals -11. Add 6 to both sides, divide by 2, x equals -5/2. E, we need to distribute. So we have 15 equals -10x plus 25. Subtract 25 from both sides. Divide by -10. X equals 1. F, multiply both sides by -6. Y equals 18. And G, subtract 3x from both sides, subtract 25 from both sides, divide by 2, and x equals -20. Questions on any of those? All right, 33, the slope for A is 1/2. For B, it's 3/14. C, it's undefined. Remember, when you divide by 0, it's undefined. And D is 0. When you have 0 and you divide by a number, it gives you 0. But when you have some number divided by 0, it's undefined. E is -4/5. F, -3/2. Questions on any of those? Slope of a horizontal line. Remember, horizontal line looks like this. It's with the horizon. Goes through the y-axis, so it has a slope of 0. A vertical line goes through the x-axis. Remember, this is the bird falling on its face. That one's undefined. So the slope of a line with an equation x equals 3, the one that's going through the x-axis, is undefined. The slope of the line with the equation y equals -6, that one's going through the y-axis. That one has a slope of 0. 38. Domain is 5, 6, and 7. Range 8, 9, and 10, and 11. Is this relation a function? No, because the domain repeats. 39. Find an equation in slope-intercept form that has a slope of -3 and y-intercept of 2. Y equals -3x plus 2. 40. Find an equation in point-slope form for the line that goes through the given point and has a given slope. So you have your slope and x1 and y1. So y minus 3 equals -2 times x plus 4. Distribute, add 3 to both sides, and in slope-intercept form, it's y equals -2x minus 5. B, y minus 1 equals 1 times x minus 2. Distribute, add 1, and in slope-intercept form, it's y equals 1x minus 1. 41, you need to find the slope first. So for A, your slope is 12 over 2, which is 6. Put it into point slope form. Y plus 5 equals 6 times x minus 2. Distribute, subtract 5, and y equals 6x minus 17. On B, your slope is 2 over 4, which reduces to 1/2. Y minus 0 equals 1/2 times x plus 3. Distribute, and you have y equals 1/2 x plus 3/2. What? (42). You need to write the equation that represents the line drawn. So you need the slope and the y-intercept. Your y-intercept is -1. Your slope is down 1 over 4. So y equals -1/4 x minus 1. B, your slope is up 1 over 1. Your y-intercept is 1. So y equals 1x plus 1. 43, add 2x to both sides, so y equals 2x plus 4. 44, add 10x to both sides, divide everything by 3, y equals -2/3 x minus 5/3. 45, distribute and add 2 to both sides, y equals 32x minus 30. 46. Make sure your equations are in slope-intercept form. Look at your slopes. On the first one, the slope is 1/3. On the second one, the slope is -3. They are negative inverses, negative reciprocals, so they're perpendicular. On B, you have to get each equation in slope-intercept form. For the first one, the slope is 2. Second one, the slope is 2. So they're parallel. 47. Y equals 2x plus 3. For B, y equals 6.85x. And C, y equals -15x plus 500. Questions on those?
On that last one, if you wrote 500 minus 15x, that's the same thing.
That's the same thing, yeah. But if you look at your multiple choice options, it will be written
like
this way. Yep. Any other questions? All right, 48. Y equals 12x plus 79. 49. Subtract 5x from both sides to get it in standard form, so you have -5x plus y equals -4. 50. Is the given table of values a function? Yes, for every x value, there's only one y. Your domain's not repeating at all. The range can repeat, but the domain cannot in order for it to be a function. 51. Is the given table of values linear? So linear is different than being a function. Function, you can have points plotted randomly as long as you don't have them falling on the same vertical line. Linear, you have to have a pattern occurring. So we can see here there's a change in y, here there's a change in x, so that would give us a line.
So
It is. (52) If f of x equals -1x plus 2, what's f of -4? That would give you 6. 53. H of x and j of x give you 8x plus 2. 54. Distribute your 3. Add 2x to both sides, subtract 12 from both sides, and then divide by 5. X is greater than -2. And 55, subtract 8 from both sides, divide by -2, flip the sign, x is less than 2.